Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing the explanation for the 33rd hexagram in I-Ching called retreat. The reason it's called retreat is first by looking at this image of the hexagram holistically. It's actually one of the 12 trending hexagrams, meaning that you can see the yin's energy is starting to build up. So from the yang line's perspective, I should be wise enough to foresee the future. The overall trend is disadvantage to myself. Eventually, the yin will get stronger and the yang will fade away. So, in that situation, it's kind of like the art of war. When your opposing force is super strong, the smartest and strategic move is to retreat so that you can preserve your energy. It's not about passively give up. It's about the kind of an act of wisdom to recognize the overall situation so that I can preserve my strength in anticipation of the future right timing to come back. So that's the point of retreat. And another way to look at the meaning is actually dissecting the external and internal trigram. Because the internal trigram is mountain, is sitting still. It's representing this body of incoming yin's energy. So from the perspective of this external trigram, heaven is pure, made up of 100% yang line. So from my perspective, I see you coming. I'm not going to directly engage with you. Instead, I'm using my yang energy to move away. So I'm creating this distance and gap between the two forces so that I can best preserve myself. So that's just two different angles of analyzing the why for this retreat image. In terms of individual lines, so the first one is the yin line, right? The line description says when you retreat, you actually can show your tail. What does that mean? It means that you're not really completely retreating or you're doing it the wrong way, because the proper approach is to, like, let's say we want to hide, we want to run into the forest as deep as possible, as thick of an area as possible so you can be covered up. But instead, this person is either delayed, the timing is not decisive enough to run at the right time. It's too late. Now that maybe the yin energy is getting too strong, you're trapped. Or because maybe it's not really sincerely wanting to retreat, you still have some worldly attachment that I don't want to run away from. Regardless of the reason, because of this delayed motion, you're not completely hidden. The person can see your tail. So you trap yourself into this very dangerous situation because of that delayed action. So in that case, if you land on this one, the guidance is to stay still, hide, be very quickly retreat, quickly withdraw, rather than going the opposite way of keep on progressing and proceeding. That would just incur more danger for yourself. The second line is the middle one, but it's the yin line again. This is kind of the leader of that whole ever-growing yin energy. So the line description said, I'm going to tie you up with a leather stripe. So it's super strong and resilient. It's very hard to lose yourself and escape from that. So it's kind of a vivid way of describing that. In this case, you might be entangled by these other opposing enemies like fake persuasion or fake rewards or something that's tempting for you to stay. But instead, you really need to have a super strong will to ignore all of that so that you can follow this wisdom of retreat. If you're not able to, which is very difficult, kind of you fall into this trap of being held back by superficial stuff or sweeteners, then all of the strong sway techniques, then you're kind of at the risk of not achieving your potential. You're just being trapped, and eventually you'll really regret that decision. The third line is a kind of a misfortunate one as well. The reason is, even though it's a yang line, it's trying to move with the ones above it, but deep down is part of this internal trigram. And because of the close proximity with the two yin lines, it's that connection that I'm being kind of trapped. I still have burdens or hesitations or attachment that prevents me from decisively letting go, decisively withdrawing. Because of that proximity and that hesitation, that will create failure, meaning that you're, because of that hesitation and wishy-washiness, unable to make decision quickly to withdraw. You will possibly preserve enough to cover your basic needs, but don't even think about achieving grand success or achieving your dream, because you're not able to. You're being sucked into this ever-growing yin energy, which is disadvantage to you. Moving to the fourth line, that now we're getting into this external heaven trigram territory, and that's getting better because you're the yang. You can follow this initiation, this movement energy to escape, to do it in the right timely manner, right? And in a very decisive way. So in terms of the fourth one, it's very situational based, like depending on your mindset. If you can act like a nobleman, meaning that deep down you care about living in sync with nature, living with the rhythm and the rules of the universe, then you're not being distracted, because naturally 1 and 4 lines have a corresponding relationship, but you can escape from this guy's kind of lower level temptation to stay. However, if you're just a petty person, like a normal person, you cannot let go of your wealth or social status, all this external stuff, then you're going to be sucked in by the first line, meaning that you'll have a delayed retreat yourself. You're going to be lingering on too much, which will be a very negative result. So it can be good or bad depending on your mentality. The fifth one is also a very positive one, because fifth is typically the one in power, is the king's position, the ruler. But this guy, even though I'm in a very, I work so hard my whole life, I'm getting in the position of power or in a job that makes a lot of money, but that doesn't prevent me from wisely seeing the overall environment and the general trend I live in. I can predict what's coming, so I'm voluntarily, like well-timed withdraw on my own terms. That will ensure dignity rather than lingering on, which will turn something super positive into a negative outcome. But this person is so smart and is not tempted by all of those it doesn't have that lingering resistance because of all the worldly attachment. Because of that clear mind, he's able to retreat at the right time and preserve his grand success. And last but not least, the top line is a positive one as well, because building on the success of the fourth and fifth line, right? This person is like easily letting go. It has no worries, no attachment, no hesitation. It's a complete withdrawal mindset, and it's kind of counterintuitive because I can let go so easily. You can actually outgain a lot of rewards unplanned. It's like a really pleasant surprise because of my retrieving decision. Like a real life example could be, if you're like a short-term trader on the stock market, if the market is crashing, most people have this default human psychology to stay, linger around. Oh, what if I don't want to? If I take it out, I will actually realize the loss, right? Most people, that's the trap that trap you from staying too long. But this is the type of person who can just freely see the big picture and voluntarily, happily realize the loss, and because that will prevent future loss. So this counterintuitive movement will actually give him more freedom for choice down the road. You're minimizing the loss for future bigger gain. So that's the concept of this one, and that's the overall explanation for the 33rd hexagram. It's actually like a spring, right? In order to bounce forward really with full force, you almost have to pull it back in order to move forward. So that's the relationship of this one. This is a retreat, preserving energy phase, so that you can transition to the next 34th hexagram, like a lot of strength, a lot of big, powerful development. So that follows the rhythm of the nature and the Tao again. So thank you for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye.